The Honourable Ginny Anderson.
My question is to the Minister of Justice. Does he agree with Mark Mitchell's statement? I think there's real risk of seeing a tragedy unfold with members of the public who have become exasperated. Every week I've got to try and talk to people that want to take vigilante type action to protect themselves. That's the worst possible thing that could happen, and I'd encourage people definitely not to go down that road. If not, why not?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Paul Goldsmith.
Yes, and I agree that many New Zealanders have become exasperated at the high level of crime occurring in our communities, and that vigilante justice is not the solution, and that's why this government is focused on restoring law and order so people are confident that our justice system delivers real consequences for crime.
What advice did police give the Minister of Police on the public safety risks of citizens' arrest powers?
Point of order, the Honourable Nicola Willis.
The Minister of Justice is not responsible for advice received by the Minister of Police.
Speaking to the point of order, I assume.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, this question was originally posed to the Minister of Police. The government decided to transfer it to the Minister of Justice. Speaker's rulings and McGee are quite clear that if the government decides to transfer a question to another minister, that minister should be in a position to answer the following supplementary questions.
Well, not to argue or correct you, but the decision by the government has to be in favour of who can best answer the question that is placed as the primary question. I think the difficulty starts to arise where a question immediately reverts to a different minister with an expectation that the minister answering the question would have the same information. It's a messy process. There's nothing clearer. But I've sat in this House for a long time and seen this sort of thing occur before, and I think it is fair to say that the question that was asked would be information specific to the police minister, not necessarily related to the primary question.
Speaking to that, sir. So 2 points there. The first one is that the primary question was asking the Minister of Police if he agreed with statements that he had made before becoming Minister of Police. The issues may well occur when they transfer a question to the Minister of Justice asking him to stand by a statement that someone else made. The second point is that if this Speaker's ruling and the expectation outlined in McGee is not, in your view, applicable here, can the Honourable Ginny Anderson have another opportunity to ask that supplementary without penalty in a way that would the Minister of Justice may have a better chance of answering?
Well, firstly, I'm not disputing anything that's written there, but clearly it's my job to interpret it. I think that would be a reasonable way to progress if the Honourable Ginny Anderson asked a question perhaps about awareness.
What advice did police or the Ministry of Justice provide him on the safety risks associated with the new citizens' arrest power?
There was a range of advice. The police, quite frankly, were not broadly in favour of the changes. They had concerns around potential impacts. We weighed that up against our concerns about the current situation where that during the day...
you can't say that. Just calm down.
Yeah, we weighed that against other advice and considerations, given the fact that New Zealanders currently have citizens' arrest powers for things that happen at night, but then the same thing happens during the day when somebody walks out of a shop with around $900 worth of food or clothing or electronics. Nothing can be done about that, and we don't think that's a correct situation.
What consultation did what consultation did the Minister of Police or the Minister of Justice undertake with the Police Association regarding the impact of citizen arrest powers on frontline police?
Well, the proposals in particular came from the Ministry Advisory Group led by Sunny Koshal in response to a significant increase in retail crime over the past few years. And New Zealanders are fed up with the level of retail crime that they're experiencing in our communities. And that's why this government has considered proposals to change the rules, because if you want to have a different outcome, sometimes you have to change things. And that is what we're proposing. And so in the course of developing those proposals, the Ministry Advisory Group talked to a wide range of people. And of course, when we introduce this legislation, it will go off to the Select Committee, and then many New Zealanders will have their say, including the Police Association.
Will there be police operational guidelines issued to the public in addition to his advice, quote, "It's not necessarily a headlock, it's just holding someone steady"? And if so, how long will the members of the public be allowed to hold someone steady for?
A point of order, the Honourable Chris Bishop.
Mr Speaker, Minister Goldsmith is responsible for many things, but he is not responsible for police operational guidelines.
Okay, have you got another sub?
Is a store owner required to inform the parents of a child who is being held steady or detained in a storeroom?
Well, the requirements, if a situation occurs when somebody is stealing from a business and reasonable force is being used to detain that person, what the proposal is that they would then need to contact the police and follow instructions from police. Then that is the situation. It's already the law. It's already the law at 9:05 at night, and our proposal is to make it the law during the day. And ultimately, every retail worker needs to consider the broad circumstances and the situation that they confront. But this government makes no apology for coming up with new ideas and new responses to deal with the significant increase in retail crime that we experienced over the past few years. New Zealanders want change, and that's what we're going to deliver.
How does he justify a $3.6 million spend on the Retail Crime Advisory Group when there are 72 fewer police on our streets and methamphetamine use has doubled under his watch?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think people would recognise that retail crime costs our community billions of dollars, and all New Zealanders have to pay more for the things that they buy because some New Zealanders steal it and don't pay for it. And that is why we think a modest investment in a retail advisory group to come up with bold ideas. And the purpose behind the Retail Advisory Group is to say that we have a Ministry of Justice and a whole justice sector that has continued in its ways for a number of time, and we're open to radical new ideas coming from elsewhere in order to come up with different solutions so that we can have better outcomes and for New Zealanders to keep safe in their communities.
The Honourable Chris Bishop.
To the Minister, is it the case right now that it is legal to initiate a citizen's arrest on someone stealing something at 9:01 p.m. at night with goods worth more than $1,000, but illegal to initiate a citizen's arrest at 8:59 p.m. at night for stealing a toaster? And does he think that this is a particularly sensible move to bring these things into line?
Well, yes, I do think it is a sensible move, and there'll be a wide variety of views. And I would note that there is one fellow called Stuart Nash who said, "I am a fan," and there's no doubt about that. And of course, I can understand why he's out of step with the current Labor government, which seems to be wanting to defend the current situation whereby people walk out of stores during the middle of the day and nobody can do anything about it apart from escort them to their car. And New Zealanders are tired of that.
Will he take responsibility if someone in New Zealand loses their life because of his law change?
What I can tell that member is that the only person that is responsible for losing a life in a situation like that would be the person that took the life, that swung the axe, that used the weapon to kill or hurt or maim somebody. And if that member doesn't understand that and wants to create excuses for that kind of activity, then I don't think they understand how law and order should work in this country. So we are very determined to ensure that New Zealanders are kept safe in their community, and that is why already in government we have brought back 3 strikes, increased sentencing reform, and given the police the powers that they need to deal with gangs, and all of those things are designed to keep our communities safe.